Welcome back to Mindful Moxies Season 2. In this episode, we're diving deep into the powerful shift from scarcity to abundance. We'll uncover how the fear of not being good enough can hold you back and how healing that fear unlocks a world of possibilities. Let's go!
Be mindful of yourself, be mindful of your wealth, be mindful of your health. You need it, just take a breath, it's your life. Live it, be your best, stay box free with your mindful Moxies.
We are your Moxies, guiding you through the messy, real, and empowering journey of personal growth. Welcome to Mindful Moxie Season 2. My name is Adrianna Foster.
And I'm Luly Carreras.
And we are so excited to be here. This is our finances, money series of several episodes because we love you and we want to teach you how to be a money moxie. Ooh. Money moxie.
Ooh.
I love it.
I'm going to do that too. I'm going to adjust my mic.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
It forces me to have good posture.
Yes, because I'm like leaning over. I'm like hunchy today. Why am I hunchy?
How are you feeling today, Luly B?
I'm feeling so good. And I just thought it's Season 2, Episode 2. It's 222.
222. I love it. Yes.
And today, we just talked about money genealogy, our relationship with money. We gave you some prompts last week about how we were raised around money, what our story is around money. We asked you to answer the question money is or fill in the blank money is. And if you didn't hear that episode, I'm going to encourage you to pause right now and go to that episode.
Yes, please do.
Because what we decided is that we could create a segment around this, a series, actually, not a segment, a series of episodes around money, because money is so much a mindset. And so we know as Mindful Moxies that we have an opportunity to really support you and, again, equip you and encourage you to possibly get curious around your money mindset, around your relationship with money, and see if there are some tweaks that we get to make.
Absolutely. Yes, this is why we're here today. Like Luly said, go watch or hear our first episode if you didn't. And today we're going to talk about what comes next, right? So first we get to understand our money story, and then we get to really connect with our own, what we choose, our choice to be the relationship with money, which it can be between
abundance
or
scarcity.
Now, this is such an awesome topic because what I see a lot in my clients is that a lot of people don't know that scarcity goes beyond you thinking that you don't have money. Like, you thinking that you don't have money is the tip of the iceberg. A lot of my clients, like when I talk about scarcity, they're like, oh, no, but I feel comfortable with money and I don't feel like I don't have money. I'm not afraid of money. That's not even it is so superficial. There is so much inside of us in our self-worth system that will manifest as scarcity that can and will affect our relationship with money.
Yeah, and you said tip of the iceberg, and I immediately thought of Freud's iceberg. So Freud's iceberg teaches us that all that we know, the only awareness we have or we can have is what is visible above the water.
Yes.
Right? The unconscious and subconscious is below the water. And that is the opportunity. I think it's Carl Jung that said is when you make the unconscious conscious, that's where you could be set free.
Absolutely.
Right? And the opportunity here, as you're saying, Adrianna, is to really open ourselves up and get curious around abundance.
Yes.
And what that really looks like. We've said this in a couple of episodes about the terms that are being used, or the authenticity or jargon like hustle and grit, that there's a place for those things. There's a place for authenticity when it's used appropriately. There's a place for what we want to consider as hustle and grit, but what those words can actually do to us. And the truth is, the same goes for money. So episode 1, we talked about, how we were raised and what our relationship is. And now today we want to talk about that abundance and that scarcity. And what does that look like? And how are we showing up every single day? Are we showing up in abundance? Are we showing up in scarcity? And then specifically, how does that relate to our relationship with money?
Yes. And here is how do you say when I totally forgot the term that when a lot of people don't agree with it, uncommon thought or whatever. I can't remember.
Talk a little more and then I'll.
Yeah, kind of like, in social media what they put like, this is not a common thought or something that people agree with.
Okay.
So here's
like
here's
a controversial?
Yeah, like a controversial thought, right? So abundance, it's not, I repeat, it's not toxic positivity. And I really, really, really want to
say that one more time for the people in the back.
Distinction. We should have like a little like
do it
little,
right
like,
now. Go for
distinction.
Let's do it. Make the distinction. Sing it. Sing it. Sing it.
Abundance is not toxic positivity. Abundance is not thinking positive all the time. Abundance is not thinking that everything is going to work out itself all the time. Abundance is not believing that everything will always be okay. That's actually scarcity. Abundance is the ability for you to accept and love yourself deeply, unconditionally, even if it's dark and hard and not positive, right? If you want to talk about the labels of positivity. Abundance is the space of all possibilities. And all possibilities exist in a space where everything is seen as a whole, where there isn't any distinction or labels around good, bad, right, wrong. Abundance is the energy of love. And love knows no distinction between right and wrong, good or bad. Love experiences all as a whole, whether it's things that we like and things that we don't like. So one thing that a lot of people don't know is that when you keep yourself in a state of positivity, right? The toxic positivity that we use, like everything's going to be fine. We're going to figure it out. It's all going to go well. You're actually stopping yourself from experiencing abundance. You're actually succumbing, is that the word?
Succumbing, yeah.
To fear of the scarcity, so you avoid. Remember that in last episode we talked about how money is instant gratification, and we avoid our internal struggles with instant gratification. Well, toxic positivity is also instant gratification, and that is not abundance.
A couple episodes ago, I talked about how I didn't allow myself to be angry during my divorce, right? And so my hypnotherapist, aka Adrianna Foster,
hello,
walked me through what anger looked like, right? And I was succumbing to toxic positivity. I was very much, and I realized I used it as a coping mechanism that served me for quite a bit. I chose grace. I wanted to be graceful. I wanted to have peace. This was important to me. And I got to the point where anger was my next step. And no longer was choosing grace alone going to support me. I could continue to use grace, but while I chose to be graceful, I also allowed myself to be angry. And the way that I allowed myself to be angry was to journal about the anger, was to experience the anger, was I had a close network of friends that heard some really, really, really things from my mouth that helped me.
If you're one of those friends, I apologize in behalf of Luly.
Yes. No, don't apologize. They held space really, really well. And I think that's the difference. And I think that is the reason why I have become such a proponent of, or an anti-proponent of toxic positivity.
1,000%.
Because so many times, I'm around so many women on a daily basis, and I will often hear somebody sharing a not so great experience that she is in. And then she will quickly say, but I'm so grateful.
Yes.
Or, but at least. And then there's always the, but at least. And those things are important. And don't get us wrong. I think we get to make a distinction. She does it so much better than me. But we get to make a distinction. We're not saying not to get there.
No, for sure.
So,
thank you for saying that.
Do you want to clarify that?
We definitely want to clarify.
Yes.
We're not saying to be on the floor all the time and everything sucks. No. However, allow yourself to be, it's a path of yes and.
Yes.
Yes, it sucks and it'll eventually work out.
Right.
But right now in this very moment, I don't know how it's going to work out and it sucks. Now, to your point, The distinction between toxic positivity and abundance is trust. When we trust, and not necessarily that something is going to work out or that an angel is going to come with a solution or that somebody's not going to hurt us. When we trust that we are provided for, protected, and taken care of by God, by the universe, whatever you believe in, all the time, when we trust that everything is working out for you for good all the time, then you can go into the space of everything's going to be okay. But it's not well, I'm grateful that I have food or that my daughter's alive, so I'm not going to be angry. No, it's this sucks. I'm having such a hard time and I'm at peace because I know that everything's going to work out.
Right.
That is abundance.
Absolutely.
And the way to tap into that is to learn how to trust not something else, not another person, not a solution, but yourself. And to trust that you will always know how to design, choose, and create the solutions that you need in the moment that you need them to move forward in your life.
And I think that's a very important
distinction. Oh, I swear to God, I'm going to record that.
I think she should. Do you agree?
Distinction. And if I do like harmonies.
It's so good. Now I lost my train of thought. That's an important distinction, right? Because it's the yes and back to what you were saying. And I think that is where true abundance lies. Is like this. What I will always say, if you are in front of me and you're experiencing something, right? And they're like, yeah, and something happened. Maybe you lost a loved one, right? And you can say, well, I'm really grateful because they lived a long life. And I'm going to look at you and say, you're right. And it still sucks.
Yeah.
This sucks.
I remember, if I can share, when you were getting a divorce, that you were like, I hate when people tell me that I'm strong.
Oh, I hate the word strong. But now you're going to tell me why strong, like how strong is defined.
Is strong? Yes, for sure. So the strength is not necessarily to be able to withstand the storm like a trooper and be a superhero.
No.
Strength is to be able to break down and surrender and fall into a million pieces and be okay. Look, I get goosebumps. And be okay with being destroyed and failure and surrender and putting your pieces back together and knowing that you can always and forever, as many times as you need to, reinvent yourself and start over. And that's where your strength comes from. Your strength is the wisdom of being able to break down and come up again. The wisdom of that transition, of what happens in the process of breaking down and becoming whole again. That rebirth, that is what gives you the wisdom. It's not that you stayed positive all the time or that you stood your ground. Is that you know how to fall and break down and bring yourself back together stronger, wiser, and more capable than before.
I think of a palm tree in the hurricanes.
Oh, yes.
Right? The palm tree is like,
well,
and so if you know anything about palm trees, and maybe you know about this, is the root system of palm trees is what allows the palm tree to literally dance in a storm.
Yes, it's the same thing that happens with bamboos.
Yes.
Why do you think bamboos are the strongest, well, one of the strongest plants on the planet? Because the roots of the bamboo grow for, I don't know how many years, I think 7 years, don't quote me on that, but a lot of years. And then after that, they grow, like you don't see the growth for I think 7 years until in a year they grow exponentially. But why? Because the roots are growing so strongly that the bamboos can totally bend and be flexible. And then when the storm or the wind is over, they're still standing strong. That is strength. The same as abundance and scarcity. Scarcity is when we don't trust ourselves. Scarcity is when we feel that there is not enough for us. When we were raised in an environment where there was a lot asked of us. You know, I see this a lot in my clients when they had narcissistic parents or they were in a system where there was a lot of expectations and nothing was good enough. That is where we learn that we are not good enough, that no matter what happens, we will never make the mark. Or when there wasn't enough around us, when we had to love, or we had to work hard for love, when we had to figure things out by ourselves, when we didn't have a responsible parent or an emotional intelligent parent to sit down with us and teach us how to feel, how to experience love, that is when we feel like we're not good enough. And that is where scarcity jumps in. And scarcity can look in many different ways. Scarcity can look in being selfish, in being insecure, in being envious, in feeling that you have to hoard either clients or friends, or you can't trust people. Like, that's a big, if you find yourself that you don't open up to a lot of people, that you're scared of being vulnerable, that you don't let people in, that's scarcity, because you feel like it's not going to be enough space for you, that you're not worth sharing and being held, or that you're going to fall and nobody's going to hold you. That is where it comes from.
And I have another one that I suffer from. It's like true confession. That's another thing we do here.
Let me do like a little
mindful
confessions.
So here's my confession.
Here's my confession. Yeah.
So you ready for mine?
Yes.
My scarcity comes in the form of FOMO, fear of missing out. And my good friend, Caroline de Posada, I tell her this often. She inspires me because she is someone that is so good at being okay with FOMO. She is so okay with FOMO. Not that she doesn't have it, but she doesn't give into it. So she has such beautiful boundaries. And I'll give you an example. I remember and at a certain point at the dinner, we had already had dessert and coffee and the thing, and we were just kind of doing what's called a sobremesa, which is basically just hanging out after the meal at the restaurant. And it was probably about 8:30, 8:40, and she got up, excused herself, and said, well, I'm heading home. My youngest, I think his bedtime was 9:30. I want to make it home before to say goodnight to my son. That is a boundary that she has. And she made it home. And I just looked at her in awe, because for me specifically, I often say this, we talked a lot about this in celebrating how we don't always realize when we celebrate the things that we might think are insignificant. That's really what is powering us and empowering us to start celebrating and start noticing and start to really experience the journey of getting to Mated Island. You guys remember that episode, right? Mm-hmm. And the same is true for FOMO. What I realized is by Caro standing up that night and setting a very healthy boundary and respectfully saying, this has been lovely. I'm going to go make sure that I get to tuck my son in tonight. That inspired me. And I realized this is my opportunity to really see FOMO as a form of scarcity creeping into my life. How can I start to pay attention to this fear of missing out and realizing I'm not missing out on anything? What I would be missing out on, in Caro's case, is tucking in my son at night.
That is so powerful. And yes, Caro de Posada is such an abundant human.
So abundant.
She is. We love you, Caro. Yes. And I remember the episode we had about networking, how like giving me your business cards, not networking. If you haven't watched it from our
another one.
Our first season, go. This is another example of kind of like FOMO, right? Yeah. So I used to do this. I used to go to every single networking event that anybody would invite me. Like, I would not sleep. I would not eat.
I remember those days.
I would go, like, you would see me everywhere, and it was ridiculous. But why? Because I felt like if I don't go, I'm gonna miss out on an opportunity. And it was always like a chip in my head of like, what if that is the person that I need to find, the client? Or it was always the client, the opportunity, the person, whatever that is, right? So that is also scarcity. Why? Because there is not enough for me. That's the stories, right? There's not enough for me. So since there is not enough for me, I have to go and grab. I have to hunt. I have to chase, because there is only a little bit of opportunities out there. So if I don't go, somebody else is going to take it for me. So I have to go overboard, not sleep, burned out, not even be like mindful of what events I go to, not choose, right? I have to go fast, give my business cards to everybody, talk to every single person, because there's only one opportunity out there and I'm going to find it. Kind of like, remember those those TV shows where they had like the ay, la paja. ¿Cómo se dice paja en inglés? The
Well,
wool.
it depends on where you're from. Adrianna Foster.
Mexico, in
Jesus.
Mexico. The you
Like
go, you
hay?
find the hay, yeah.
The needle in the
The needle in
haystack,
the
Adrianna
haystack.
Foster.
Yes, yes. So remember how you go in and you're like trying to find it? That is scarcity. Thinking that if you don't go to the party, if you don't go to the networking event, if you don't talk to the person, you are not going to find the opportunity because the opportunity is a needle on a haystack. That is scarcity. Why? Because there is an internal programming that tells you that there's only one opportunity for you, that there's only one person that you can meet. There's only one time that you are going to be able to do this. And that comes from feeling like there is not enough for you. So if you find yourself jittery or with FOMO or feeling like you're super busy because you have to do all the things, I invite you to take a deep breath, or we invite you to take a deep breath and to ask yourself, what part of me believes that there's not enough? What part of me believes that there's only one opportunity that I have to chase? Where does it come from? And then go to our last episode and think about, was your mom that way? Was your dad that way? Were your grandparents that way? Right? Where did you learn that there is not enough opportunities out there for you?
And where can you start to shift little by little that mindset?
Yes.
You know, as we wrap up and give you these tools and give you these takeaways, I think that's another really great reflection, Adrianna, based on the previous episode. Start to build on all of these different reflections. I think the last thing I want to talk about a little bit, and we're going to get to it in the next episode, is about competition.
Yes.
Right. And seeing, I'll just very quickly say that there is enough business for everybody. You and I have both been approached by people that have said, what are you doing a podcast with Luly? What are you doing with a podcast with? Like, you guys both have communities. You both kind of do the same thing. And we're like, no, we don't.
And even if we did, there is enough for
everybody.
And that is abundance mindset. One of the things that I realized being a singer is that in the music industry, especially with people that have the dream of being a singer or a performer, whatever, there is this mentality that you are going to get your break. And I think we spoke about this in one of the episodes,
and
right?
Maya talking about it also.
Right. It's like, oh, I'm going to make it. Right. There's like this break that I'm going to get. And it's the opportunity of a lifetime.
Right.
And if I don't seize that opportunity, I will never have opportunities like that. My love, that is scarcity. And it took me such a long time, Luly, to be able to understand that and to get out of that anxiety mindset that there was only one opportunity for me.
Right.
And if you think about it, this is how our society, a lot of the things in our society are built upon. Even sometimes marketing, the way people sell.
Yes.
This is something that I don't like about, salespeople. And how I teach my, practitioners in foster hypnosis, like, we don't sell through fear. Our clients don't need us. We are not the ultimate solution for our clients.
Right.
We are here to serve. And if it's a good fit, we can serve you. But if it's not, you're going to find 1,000 other practitioners that are going to be able to help you. So there's no rush. There's no emergency. There's no urgency.
Right.
Urgency is scarcity. So this is why we wanted to make this episode, to convey to you to slow down. There are thousands of opportunities out there. Abundance is all around you. You are abundance. Abundance is the energy of love, and everything is working out for you all the time. All you have to do is receive the good, the not so good, the comfortable, the not so comfortable. Learn how to be whole. Learn how to feel everything, how to love yourself in entirety of who you are. And that way you will start identifying all of the abundance around you. And most importantly, you will start seeing that you always have what you need, no matter how it looks like. It may not look the way that you expected or wanted it to look like, but you will always have what you need. And if you don't choose that opportunity this moment, another opportunity will come around. So you don't have to rush. You can set a boundary like Carolina. You can spend time with your kids. You can watch the beautiful sunset and still have everything you want.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, as we, I know I said wrap up a couple minutes ago, but I just wanted to reiterate one thing. And that is, just because we choose abundance doesn't mean that we don't have human emotions. That doesn't mean that we might not experience jealousy or envy or overwhelm, or we might not go like, well, hang on a second, that person went and I told that person to come. And because we're also human, I think that's really important. This is part of the confessional, right?
Yes.
But what's so great is because of that awareness, it gets to be a 45-second thing. Just yesterday, I was on with one of my colleagues, and there's a woman that was about to join my community, but was going to do her program as well. And she and I, as coaches, had a conversation and said, well, I think based on everything that she is, where she is at, and based on everything she's shared, I really think that she should take advantage of your program, friend of mine, first, and then she should do mine. I don't know that both of them could serve her. And it was a conversation that was about the person we are serving, back to what you said.
Yes.
That is abundance. The money, the client, that will come back. And maybe it's not through that client.
Right.
It will come back to you. And I think that is the beauty of what you just said about the energy and about love, that abundance is love. And it's not about right or wrong. I think that's so, so powerful.
Absolutely.
Adrianna.
And to build on top of what you're saying, right? Envy, jealousy, anger, anxiety, all of those emotions are still love. It's still who we are. So this is why I started the episode by saying abundance is not toxic positivity. Abundance is the ability to feel all of the spectrum of the emotions. The fact that you're feeling envy or resentment or scarcity or whatever about something does not mean that you cannot go back to trusting that everything will come back to you, right? So actually feeling those feelings is what's going to open up the door to abundance for you.
That's
right.
right.
I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah.
It's super important because we're humans. We have to experience all of the human emotions.
In order to get to that abundance, we get to allow ourselves to feel all of those things. And those are really, really important.
We have to, because if we don't, then we're in scarcity.
That's
if
right.
we close certain emotions, then we tap into scarcity. And then we don't allow, because again, remember that money is energy. So we have to allow ourselves to flow with the energy of money, of the emotions, of everything that we're feeling. So that way money flows. And then it will take the form of however is in your best interest and the best interest for everybody around you. Because things will always work out for you, for me, for you, for every one of us. We just have to sit back and trust ourselves that we're always protected and taken care of. That is abundance.
That's right. Love it.
Yay!
Love it.
Well, thank you so much, Mindful Moxies, for listening to us. It's such a pleasure. It's an honor. I really want to thank each and every one of you. I feel very humbled to be able to make a difference in your life. And I know Luly feels the same way. We are here for you. It is such a privilege for us to be able to serve you this way.
Absolutely, especially on a topic so gooey as money. So thank you for hanging in there.
Yay! We'll see you next week. My name is Adrianna Foster.
And I'm Luly P. Carreras.
And we will see you next week, Mindful Moxies. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, share the episode with your friends, and go to mindfulmoxies.com where you can schedule a call with us. See you next week.
Be mindful of yourself, be mindful of your wealth, be mindful of your health. You need it, just take a breath, it's your life. Live it, be your best, stay box free with your mindful